Welcome to the High Ticket DM Sales Guide video series, part 2 of 5, where the objective is to add $10,000 a month to your business via LinkedIn DMs. In this video, we're talking about tonality and how to actually find your ICP, your ideal customer profile, your avatar profile, not the blue aliens, your persona, basically who you're actually going after, how to find them on LinkedIn. And so, with that being said, diving into tonality here. Tonality is extremely important whether you're sending out an initial connection request to start a conversation or you're asking the last question before you hop on a sales call. Having the right tone maintained throughout the entire DM sales process is incredibly important. If you're not using the right tonality, people are going to just start ghosting you. They're not going to be interested. You're going to kind of seem kind of pushy, maybe too aggressive. And so having the right tone dialed in at all times will give you the highest likelihood to actually use these frameworks I'm going to break down with the most success. So what do I actually mean by tonality? Well, the way you speak to people in DMs matters a lot. And these are people after all. You're not talking to a robot. You're not talking to some AI agent. You're talking to another human being. Even though you're sending a message, you're on your computer, it can be easy to disconnect from the fact that you're actually talking to another human. And you're going to turn off prospects very quickly if you don't master the right tonality. And so when you're engaging leads in any capacity, again, whether it's the start of a conversation, whether you're proposing you hop on a call, you always want to embody these three tones. And the main objective of these three tones is to make someone feel special. Make them feel like you actually care about them, right? And so diving into how that actually breaks down, the first piece is curiosity, right? Showing a genuine curiosity in somebody else. Oh, they've been running their business for 2 years, but maybe they have two jobs going on. Like, how are they kind of balancing things, right? Or like, oh, they've hit the 5th year in their business. It's fantastic, right? Like, you want to know kind of what some of the work they're doing. Like, showing a genuine curiosity for someone else will always get you far. Now, number 2 is caring. So again, they're another human. You want to care about them. You want to celebrate when they have a win. You want to empathize with them when they're struggling. You don't want to be some monotone robot that's just boom, 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 question, 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 question. You genuinely want to care for the other person you're talking to. And that might mean that you might not hop to your next sales question, but genuinely kind of staying in the emotions with someone, really understanding what they're going through, really just caring about the other person. Now, the third piece of this is seeking permission. This will always treat you well as you're progressing through a DM conversation. So whether you're wanting to ask someone if it's okay for you to kind of start a conversation around a certain topic, they express a pain for you, said, hey, I see you're kind of facing some issues here. Is this something you might be looking for some help with? Right? So, hey, do you mind if I actually ask a few questions, see if I can even help you? You want to always seek permission when you're sending DMs because you never want to assume things. It can kind of get dangerous when you start asking questions, making assumptions, going for the call preemptively when the prospect isn't actually warmed up enough. And so by seeking permission, you're able to temperature check where the person is throughout the entire stage of the process to ensure you can move them through with the most efficiency. And so again, all of these three pieces here really are all wrapped up to just make someone feel special, treat them like another human being. Especially you're taking time to personalize and reach out to these individuals. You're trying to grow your business, you're trying to grow your revenue. Customers are the most important thing. We don't have business without solving problems of the customers. And so if you aren't going to show a genuine care for them and really make them feel special in a genuine way, it's going to be really hard for you to grow a business at all, right? And so when engaging with leads, you always want to personalize when possible. And I want you to actually use these methods below in order to do so. And so what I mean by personalize is like, unfortunately nowadays there's so many bots and AI agents and people pitch slapping that one of the biggest advantages of personalizing is to show that you're an actual human that wrote a message. And that is automatically going to get you off on a way better foot than any other canned message that someone's getting sent in a list of prospects. And so when you personalize, it shows that you're taking the time and energy to actually look at their profile, make insights, show curiosity and try to move that conversation forward. And so one of the first things you can actually do to personalize is a recommendation, right? So if someone recommends you reach out to someone, that's a great way to do it, right? Hey, Joe Schmo recommended I reach out. I saw you're doing so and so. You open to a quick chat about kind of seeing if you can do things better. When you have that direct recommendation, always the best way to personalize. If you see that someone has the same kind of connections, it's a great way to go about it. But that is always one of the best ways if you have a direct recommendation from someone to start a conversation. Number 2, intent behavior. So someone like consumed a piece of your content. In this case, you going through this high ticket DM sales guide would be you consuming content, not just kind of watching reading a post on LinkedIn. You're actually going through a process. or someone actually raised their hand for a lead magnet, or you had like a DM me so-and-so phrase at the end of a LinkedIn post and they actually sent you that DM, or they did some form of action to show they have intent towards your services. That gives you a great way of saying, hey, I saw you went through the high ticket DM sales guide. Would love to chat, learn more about what you're actually doing. I'm showing some examples of how you can actually use that personalization. So the next piece is engaged content. So someone liked, they commented, or they shared a piece of your content. In some cases, they even viewed your profile as well. So they've taken some sort of action to show that they're supporting, your ecosystem. They may not actually be like a lead, they may not be qualified, but it's good for you to reach out saying, hey, I saw you like my post. Like what did you enjoy about my content? Or hey, I saw you commented, really appreciate that. Hopefully my content didn't make you feel too called out. What do you feel like is the most impactful from listening to my content, from reading my content? All right. So something like that will help you as an initial touch point, as well as while you're having a conversation with someone. And all of these personalizations are going to apply throughout the conversation. They're probably the most powerful to personalize in the first touch point, because that means you're either going to continue a conversation or you're not. And so personalizing at the top, always making sure you're trying to personalize throughout the conversation, is going to get you great results. Similarities. So the fourth piece here, basically maybe you went to the same college, right? You're in the same town. You have the same job functions. We recently moved back, and I reached out to individuals from the town we moved to. I was like, hey, like I saw a coffee shop out here. They have some great sushi out here as well. Have you ever tried it? It would be great to chat, kind of meet. Been looking to meet other entrepreneurs. And that relevance, that personalization there goes really, really long way, because I'm not just going to be sending that out to 2,000 people trying to close them for business, right? Very specific, very targeted, very personalized. Now, the final piece, this is always kind of like the bottom of the barrel. You pull from it if you have to. Ideally, you're using one of these personalizations up here because they're stronger. But you can also use company info. Hey, I saw you've been in the company for 5 years now. Maybe an interesting line in their header if it sticks out to you. Maybe they're like a bodybuilder, or they're into the golf or tennis. You want to make a comment on that. Or if you saw one of their posts, for example, you commented you liked on one of their posts, it actually stood out to you. That can also be another way that you actually personalize. But I want you to come back to this as we move through multiple sections as well, and really make sure as you're going through this process, you're trying to inject personalization in every single place you actually can. Okay. Now, again, you don't want to make it seem like you're a stalker. You're like doing everything, like you're adding all 5 of these up at once, but you want to make sure you're constantly sprinkling in a healthy dose of personalization. Okay, so now when it comes to tonality, I want to talk about a really important way to actually structure all of your messages when you're having a conversation. And so when you're formatting your messages, always structure using these 2 formatting rules. Number 1, you're showing an engagement to their last response in the first section of each message. So you're literally responding to what they just sent you. You're not blowing over it. You're reading it, you're responding to it, you're sharing some insight. This can be a great way for you to kind of start throwing in a bit of trusted advisorness, where it's like, hey, like, I'm someone who knows this. I'm an expert. I've done this. I've been around the block. I can help you, right? And so basically with this, you want to not flatter them, but acknowledge. Okay, great. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Oh, wow, I didn't know that, right? And also what's even better in most cases, if you're able to engage and relate with like 1-sentence responses, a couple sentences saying, hey, I can definitely see how you might have been struggling with that. Yeah, that's something I actually see quite a lot in this space, for example, right? And so you always want to respond to what they send you last, to share and empathize, again, showing caring, showing curiosity. And you want to make sure you're always trying to move that conversation forward by showing that you're actually partaking in the conversation itself. Then you want to ask the next frictionless question or offer value, right? And so in this case, you want to keep it conversational. You don't want to interrogate someone like I was talking about earlier. You don't want to go question, 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 question. You want to make sure that first piece of actually engaging with someone is there first, then moving things forward. And you're going to move the conversation along with questions that we're actually going to develop and we're going to cover with the sales conversational flow in a future video and also later into this guide. Or the third piece, you also want to provide value or solutions to shared problems. With that being said, you always want to take this into account, whether you're sending out the first couple messages, kind of building some rapport, whether you're starting to qualify someone and starting to kind of get into their pains. You always want to make sure you try to structure your messages like this, and you're always moving the conversation forward with another question. Okay. So 2 things that will also kill a DM conversation. Number 1, acting too friendly. It honestly loses authority, seems desperate. And this is like kind of seem like the nice kind of silly guy, using the smiley faces everywhere, and you're dropping exclamation marks everywhere. If that's not how really you would talk, like I would like read the message that you're writing with the punctuation you have, with the smiley face afterwards, and like, is this something I would actually say? And this is something I would actually do, right? So what you want to do instead is just be kind and come off as pretty chill, detached, fewer responses. But if you act like you need their sale, they're going to feel it. your desperation will reek through the monitor, right? And it's about the way you actually send the message, the way you structure it, the questions you ask. If you're desperate, it's going to come through. And so when you're in a more of an abundant mindset, you can really just pull yourself out of the situation. You're just trying to help this person, help them progress. You care about them, right? You're making them feel special. Like you don't really need their sale. All your conversations are going to go a whole lot smoother. Okay. Number two, you actually don't want them to like dominate the conversation either. People are going to try to flip the script, especially if you're targeting service providers on LinkedIn. And so they're going to start asking you questions, getting into you, right? But don't fall for it, right? If they ask any other questions, along with the message, you can just ignore it if it's aimed at you, or as many as possible, kind of answer it and get back to it. And this is just really, staying in the mindset that you're here to help people, you're here to qualify, you're here to book more sales calls, you're here to add revenue to your business. And so don't do the whole, I help my clients with XYZ, I do this is what we do, here's how we do it, here's how we break it down. You're just going to kind of push people away, take away some of that mystery, some of that allure, and most of the times just kind of either have the other person just kind of end up selling to you entirely, right? So it just derails the conversation. And so the entire conversation should be focused on qualifying and covering pain points and details about your prospect. Okay. So that's tonality. Really important that we cover that. Now let's actually start hopping into some action here. So there are two main ways you can find your ideal customer profile using LinkedIn. Number one, using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, building a lead list. And number two is actually in the comments and likes of creators that are posting in a similar niche to yourself. So how to use Sales Nav to actually find these individuals. I'm going to run through here very quickly, and we're actually going to hop into Sales Nav and show you some examples of what that actually looks like. So you want to open Sales Nav, you want to go to the lead filters section. You always want to make sure the posted on LinkedIn filters on. I'll show you this here in a minute. It's incredibly important. It shows people are active. They're going to respond. They're going to see your messages. Then you want to actually add the remaining relevant qualification filters. So like if you're targeting CEOs, certain businesses that have been in business for 3 to 5 years or more, you want to have all the right filters there that you need to really identify that ICP. Then you actually want to save that list. You want to save it to a lead list. And here's an advanced tactic. I'll talk about it quickly here. You want to genuinely engage and support content for a batch of about 150 leads every 7 days, right? So this is more of an advanced tactic. If you don't have the bandwidth to do this, totally fine. But if you can have this lead list and you can send out about 150 connection requests per week, if you're warming a list of 150 leads up for 7 days, and then at the end of that week, you send them all connection requests, or you do it more sequentially across the week, this is going to just significantly increase all your metrics. Like you're actually doing what I was saying earlier. You're showing curiosity, you're caring, you're actually reaching out, you're showing genuine interest, you're genuinely engaging. This is going to make all your conversations so much more frictionless, just better results. But I also know it can be quite time consuming. So if you just need to go out, drop like a quick comment and a like on someone's posts and genuinely engage before you send the connection request, that's also fine. So you also want to visit the listed profiles on LinkedIn. You don't want to message them on Sales Nav, as it actually moves them into a Sales Nav inbox. It becomes quite tricky. And then you actually send them a personalized connection request, which we'll talk about in a future video in the cold DM section. So that being said, I want to hop over to Sales Nav very quickly and show you an example of what a lead list would actually look like. All right, so I'm going to show you how fast we can actually run through building a lead list here. So you come to lead filters at the top, and basically we always want to throw on the posted on LinkedIn. Most individuals here are going to be targeting decision makers. So the next job title I like to throw on is usually a seniority level. So we'll just say, we'll just go for a current job title. So we'll go CEO. All right, we'll go owner. And you can do this along with me as well. I actually encourage it. You can do owner and then founder as well. And then it kind of starts to branch off from here. So if you want to target people in a certain geography, you can go after the US, for example. You can go North America, United States is an option here, right? You can come down and offer, certain industries you're wanting to go after. In my case, mainly coaches. Years of experience is also a good one. You want to target more established business owners. You can go 6 to 10, more than 10. This means you'll probably get less beginners, less younger people in general. You also, if you want to target them at a certain stage of their company, it's great to reach out. If you have the years in current company here, it can be maybe less than 1 year if you're trying to help them really get up and running. Or if you want to target more established business, you can go kind of 6 to 10 here. You can kind of play around with that range to see what types of individuals you're actually get in touch with. Usually, you're always going to be reaching out to second and third. I would always prioritize second connections in most cases. But just showing some examples here, headcount. So here's an example lead list to start. I do actually recommend you try to get your list to around 1,000 people. If less is better in some cases, because you can really have a more targeted list, which means you have more opportunities to personalize, make the messaging more relevant. And so there's tons of things you can do to really mess around with the filters to get some great results. And so ideally, you want that lead list to be around 1,000 people. Then once you have that lead list really dialed in, you go ahead and select all. You'll save to list. you'll click create a new list here, and you'll go ahead and name it whatever it may be, and that'll be the list you actually reach out to and start sending connection requests to people when we talk about in future videos. And so Sales Nav really, really powerful. I also want to mention the power of Boolean searching here. So you do parentheses, and then you type in a certain keyword. So I'll type consultant in this case, hit enter. This means is now bringing up only profiles that have the term consultant in it, right? And then you want to use and, or not filters to be able to really get things more specific and kind of start combining these keywords. So not, you say, I want consultant, not coach, for example. If you type coach, that means it would just be only consultants, and it would actually exclude someone who has a coach and consultant. If you want to target coaches and consultants, you actually don't use and. If you target consultant and coach, that means you're targeting someone who's a coach consultant, right? They're both. You actually want to use or, right? So here in this case, we'll use consultant, and we'll do or coach, and hit enter, and then that'll definitely limit things probably quite a bit. So we're getting out to about 2.5, so about cut it in half, right? But you want to make sure you're targeting the keywords of the individuals you're really trying to reach and go after. And you would know that a lot of these people would have the same kind of keywords in their actual profile. So that's how you use Sales Nav. Once you do that, you go ahead and select it. Again, save things to a list. And then you have that list here in the lead section. Come over here. And then we have this the list we're going after currently. And basically you're able to reach out to these individuals. And again, you actually don't want to reach out to them on LinkedIn. I'll talk about this in the future, but you want to click, their name here over to the right. And then you want to click this piece here. And then you want to actually view their LinkedIn profile and then send them the connection requests. Because if you send them a connection request on Sales Nav, you'll start the conversation in Sales Nav and things can kind of just get tricky from there. Okay. So that being said, that's how you actually use Sales Nav. Quick guide, how to break it down. This will give you everything you need to be dangerous. More advanced strategies like kind of commenting and warming things up or something you can kind of cover in the future. But this will give you everything you need to get started. Okay, so this strategy will work well if you maybe don't have LinkedIn Sales Nav, you don't want to go after it quite yet, or it could even work well if you do have LinkedIn Sales Nav and you want kind of a different targeted list. Basically, this is actually finding your ideal customer profile in the likes of comments of other creators, right? So you want to find potential competitors or other creators where your ICP will be engaging with and resonating with. And so basically, to show you this very quickly, so here's one of the first ways you can actually do it to find followers of certain creators. And I'll actually show you a way you can just find them on their post, right? And so basically here, what I did, I searched the term consultant. I clicked on people, and then I'm going to bring up all filters here. And one of the most powerful filters you can actually do is a follower of, not just a connection of, right? So in this case, we'll say, the go Hermosi here. Let's go ahead and break that down. And then so basically with these results, I'll be targeting everyone who identifies as a consultant loosely. They follow Alex Hermosi as well, which means they resonate with his content. Therefore, they're probably in the same niche I'm trying to target. Now, of course, 109,000 people is quite a lot. And so you want to make sure, you go second and third. You want to get the locations dialed in. Again, just second only brings it down to 29,000, which is great. You want to do United States. And use it pretty similar to Sales Nav. LinkedIn doesn't give you quite the extensive tools without using Sales Nav, but there's still a lot of great stuff you can do, as most of these individuals, I could probably guarantee, would be pretty solid ICP for us to go after as well. So you want to make sure you have the right keywords in place, the right filters. Even if you're not using Sales Nav, it's still a great way to go about it. Now, I actually want to go to Alex Hermosi's account here and show you what that looks like. And so I have one of Alex's posts here, and you can go down here. And if this is someone you're reaching out to, his audience is a bit more broad. But if it's someone who's just serving consultants and you're just going after consultants, then you can imagine consultants are going to be commenting and engaging on their posts. And so I always recommend, liking, even giving it a insightful reply to some of the comments here. Again, showing that genuine caring, that genuine curiosity, and then popping them over connection requests, right? These can be great opportunities. I've converted many clients this way as well. And so with that being said, I've given you maybe 2.5 if you count kind of the search strategy and also the commenting strategy right on your LinkedIn, also using Sales Nav. These are all great ways you can actually find your ICP and start building lists. And so that being said, if you do need to start actually building a list on Sales Nav, it makes it really simple for you, as you're able to basically save them to a lead list, as I showed you earlier. If you want to start building a list here using regular LinkedIn, I'd recommend coming over to the spreadsheet I broke down. Whatever month you're going to be in at that given point, let's say May, for example, you'd start basically throwing in those leads there. When they accept the connection request, you start moving that conversation forward, because it can get kind of messy if you're sending out 600 connection requests a month. That'll be quite a lot for you to track. And so you can start adding these leads into the sheet when you start sending out those connection requests and they start accepting and responding. So with that being said, this has been a breakdown of the tonality and how to actually start finding your ICP. In the next video, we're going to dive into actually how to break the ice, how to start the conversation, whether it's an outbound lead, an inbound lead, someone viewed your profile, someone really liked your content, warming it up. We're going to figure out how to actually craft the perfect response in each scenario to make sure you get the highest connection acceptance rate, you have more conversations, more sales calls, and eventually adding that 10K a month to your business just through LinkedIn DMs. That being said, it's been an absolute pleasure to walk you through this. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.